You have 10 seconds to choose. The Ice Age, the Black Death, or the year 536 AD. Choose wrong, and you probably won't survive the week. Most people think the answer is obvious, but historians still argue that one forgotten period was even worse. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to change your answer. Let's find out. Let's start with the answer millions of people would choose without thinking. The Ice Age. It sounds like the obvious answer. But what if I told you this is the only era on today's list where humans actually learned how to thrive? At first, survival seems impossible. Temperatures dropped far below freezing. Massive glaciers covered huge parts of Earth. Food was never guaranteed, and every hunting trip could become your last. Imagine stepping outside your shelter and finding giant predators following your tracks. One mistake, and you're dead. No hospitals, no rescue teams, no second chances. Sounds like the worst time to be alive, right? Not exactly, because humans did something extraordinary. They adapted. They mastered fire. They created warm clothing from animal hides. They built shelters strong enough to survive brutal winters. They hunted together, shared food, passed down knowledge. And slowly, they became smarter than the environment trying to kill them. Life was harsh. Life was dangerous. But humans survived the Ice Age for thousands of years, which means, as terrifying as it wasn't the worst. Because the next era introduced something far more dangerous, something you couldn't fight, couldn't outrun, and couldn't even see. A disease. And by the time you realized it was there, it was already too late. Now imagine you've survived the Ice Age. Thousands of years pass, cities rise, trade grows, kingdoms become richer. For the first time, life actually feels safer. Then one ship arrives at a harbor. Nobody thinks much about it. The markets stay busy, children keep playing, everything seems normal. Until people start getting sick, a fever, a terrible pain, then strange black swellings appear beneath their skin. Some victims die within days, others don't survive the night. This was the Black Death. You couldn't see it. You couldn't smell it. And by the time you knew it was there, it was already inside your town. Between 1347 and 1351, the plague killed tens of millions of people. Entire villages disappeared. Some towns became so empty, grass began growing through the streets. Doctors had no idea what caused it. Some blamed poisoned air, others blamed the stars. Some blamed innocent people. Fear spread almost as fast as the disease itself. Imagine hearing a knock at your door. It's your neighbor asking for help. Tomorrow, he's dead. The next day, your brother becomes sick, then your mother, then your friends. One by one, people disappear. No antibiotics, no vaccines, no cure, only fear. And waiting to see who dies next. It sounds impossible to survive. Yet somehow, humanity recovered. Cities slowly came back. Life continued, which raises a terrifying question. If even the Black Death wasn't humanity's darkest moment, then what was? The answer isn't a famous war. It isn't another plague. In fact, most people have never even heard of it. It all began with the sun. Now comes the answer almost nobody expects. The year 536 AD. The year many historians call one of the worst years in human history. It started with something nobody could explain. One day, the sky changed. Historical records describe the sun as growing dim, almost as if the world had been covered by a giant shadow. For more than a year, days became darker. Temperatures dropped, summer felt like winter, harvests failed across large regions, and when crops fail, people don't just become hungry, they starve. Imagine waking up every morning, looking at the sky, and wondering if the sun would ever shine normally again. Parents watched their children grow weaker. Communities ran out of food. Some people abandoned everything they owned, simply hoping another place still had something to eat. Today, scientists believe massive volcanic eruptions filled the atmosphere with ash. That ash blocked sunlight. The planet cooled, and crops failed year after year. But the nightmare wasn't over. Just a few years later, another disaster arrived. The Justinian Plague, already weakened by famine. Entire populations now faced a deadly disease. It spread through cities, Ports, trade routes, and millions died. Imagine surviving months of hunger, only to face a plague your body is too weak to fight. No medicine, no warning, no escape, just hope that tomorrow won't be your last. And that's what makes this period so terrifying. It wasn't one disaster, it was disaster after disaster after disaster. Dark skies, failed harvests, famine, disease, one crisis feeding the next. Here's the scary part. None of the people living through these disasters knew when they would end. For them, this wasn't history, it was just life. So, after everything you've seen, do you still think the Ice Age was the worst? Or did history just change your mind? If you had to survive one of these eras for an entire year, the Ice Age, the Black Death, or 536 AD, which one would you choose? Tell me in the comments.